live in a beachfront house in Malibu, California, and both my parents were professional surfers. They started taking me to the sea with them when I was just 1. Mom would hold me close to her on her board and take me over the waves. So by the time I turned 5, I became a surfer too, and I was just loving my seaside life.
Look, Mommy, Daddy, I'm a mermaid now. I'm pretty like a mermaid, right?
Oh, my darling, you're prettier than any mermaid. You're our princess. Yes, they really treated me like one. But little did I know this life would end so soon. Because suddenly one day, Mom and Dad were busy packing all our stuff and said we were leaving. Before I could even really understand anything, I was at my aunt's place with my luggage, and my parents said they had to go away for 6 months. You're too little to travel with us, sweetie, but we'll be back before you know it. So now, I had to stay with my aunt and my cousin Daphne, who was 2 years older than me. I had a lot of fun being there, and 6 months just flew by. But by the end of it, my parents just didn't come. I didn't even hear a word from them. I tried calling, but both of them wouldn't pick up. As the month ended, my aunt suddenly went ballistic.
Where on earth are they? Leaving me to bear with their ugly duckling? They only paid me for 6 months and you've already overstayed your visit. Pack your things tomorrow. I'm sending you to the orphanage.
Oh my God, what? What just happened to my aunt? And I was gonna end up in an orphanage? The next morning, as we were about to leave, Aunt received a big check in the mail from my parents, and she turned to me and hugged me. Now she wasn't letting me go anywhere, but she still moved me from the guest room to the dusty attic. With the money, I was able to get enrolled in the same school as Daphne. Days passed, and even though Aunt kept getting a monthly check, my parents just never returned. And I was so mad at them. How could they just leave me like this? I missed something else too, surfing. I'd talk to Daphne about it every night, but asking my aunt for it would be so foolish of me. Soon it was my 12th birthday. I woke up thinking nobody was gonna wish me a happy birthday. But then Daphne suddenly came in and took me out in a cab, and the place where we stopped nearly took my breath away. A beach? Daphne, are you serious? You know I've been dying to see this. Oh, but I wish I had my surfboard right now.
Your wish is granted. Happy birthday, Cheryl.
She then opened the car trunk, and there it was, my own surfboard. I hugged her in joy. I ran to the sea, and Daphne was so surprised to see me tackle those big waves like an expert. She even recorded a video of it and posted it on her Instagram, and it was over 1,000 likes by the time we reached home. Daphne asked if she could learn surfing too, and I was more than happy to teach her. We went to the beach every weekend to surf, and I saw her learning so fast. One evening before Christmas, my aunt said they were going shopping, and I could join too. Oh my God, was that for real? But as we reached the mall, my aunt put her hand in front of me and stopped me at the entrance.
Stop here, Missy. Did you think you were coming along? Just stay here with these beggars till we finish shopping. Oh, now, this is my real aunt.
I stood outside sulking when suddenly a small boy ran to me and asked me for a selfie.
With whom?
Me? Very soon, his friends and their parents joined him, and they all surrounded me instantly.
Oh my God, Cheryl, right?
We're big fans of surfing. We see your videos, and you're so awesome at this. I stood speechless in the crowd, and just then, Daphne came out and ran towards me, but my aunt pulled her back.
Are you crazy? See? She's stolen something and got caught. We don't want ties with some thief. Let's go.
People? We don't know this girl. She must be from the slums. Ew. Do whatever you want with her. But just as Aunt ordered a cab and got in, Daphne slammed the door shut behind her and ran back to me. Aunt was furious and drove off without us both. But we happily walked back together as we ate ice cream, and I told her all about my fans. The next morning, I heard my aunt yelling out my name. Ugh, what now? As I stomped down the stairs, I found a strange woman sitting with my aunt. Then my aunt asked me to sit next to her in the sweetest voice ever. Just then, Daphne walked in with some makeup, and Aunt started putting it all over my face. Wait, stop. Can someone tell me what's going on? Oh, my curious cutie kitty. See, here's the journalist from a big magazine. She wants to cover the story of the youngest advanced surfer in town. You! and we're gonna make their front page, darling. Isn't that awesome? We? Now I know what's with that crocodile smile. The lady started interviewing me, and I ended up telling her how I learned all my surfing techniques. She then wanted to take a picture of me, which turned out gross with my aunt kissing my cheek. Ew. That night at dinner, she made me sit at the dining table and served me extra lamb chops, but I wasn't buying it. Stop all this. How can you act like this all of a sudden? Weren't you treating me like the dirt in your shoes till yesterday? I know. I'm so sorry for being so stupid to my own brother's blood. Daphne keeps telling me how well you teach her surfing and you love her like your own sister. So it's my turn to treat you like my own girl. Please, forgive me. With that, she fell on her knees and cried. I wasn't sure if I could forgive her that soon, but I could try to give her a chance. I went near her and made her stand up. Then we three had a happy dinner for the first time in all these years. As days passed by, she really stood by her words. She gave me a nice room, took me out for shopping and dinners, and started treating me just like Daphne. One evening, I got an email from a famous sports equipment company saying they wanted me to be their brand ambassador and shoot a commercial with me. Daphne and Aunt were so happy when they heard the news. On the day of the shoot, we arrived at the beach and a crew member handed me sunscreen to apply before heading out to the waves. As the cameras started filming, I suddenly felt my skin itch really bad. I tried to ignore it, but it was unbearable, and I lost my balance and fell into the water. As I swam to the surface, I suddenly saw someone riding towards me on a surfboard. It was Daphne. She pulled me up on the board and led us to shore as a team of medics came over and gave me an anti-allergy pill. Wow, something gave you a really bad reaction. Probably that sunscreen. It was a brand I hadn't used before, so that had to be it. Just then, the commercial director turned to Daphne. I didn't know Cheryl had a sister who could surf. You're not too bad, kid. How about we do a sister act? That would be amazing. I was happy to share the screen with Daphne, and we had the most amazing time shooting. A few days later, I was invited to compete in an international surfing game, which would be amazing exposure, and the prize money was great. I immediately accepted. As I was heading out on competition day, I heard a loud scream from my aunt's room. I went running to find out she'd fallen down and hurt both her ankles really badly. She needed to see a doctor right away, and Daphne couldn't manage alone. But this is such an important day for you. Please, we don't want you to miss it. Just go. Don't be ridiculous. I'm going to be right here with you. I called the manager and informed him I couldn't make it. Then we took my aunt to the hospital, and thankfully, the doctor said she'd be fine in a few days. That night, I went out to get dinner for us. When I got back, I was about to walk in through the back door when I saw my aunt standing, saying something to Daphne. Wait, what? Wasn't her ankle twisted? Just then I heard my name, and I stopped. You're as good as surfing as Cheryl is now, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be getting all the fame and earning the money. See, I've been making all the effort. The sunscreen, faking my fall, paying the doctor to lie. But now I want you to do something. Take her out surfing, deeper and deeper, and anything can happen out there. What? I'd actually believed my aunt had changed, but she was more evil than I thought. Just then I looked at Daphne, and she was nodding. Oh my God, seriously? How could she? I so wanted to wait and see what she'd actually do, and then confront her. I pushed the door open and they heard and stopped talking. Oh dear, why are you so late? We were so worried. I was just trying to stand and take a few steps. Daphne was helping me. I just forced a fake smile. Those witches didn't know I was onto them. The next morning as I woke up, I was waiting for Daphne to call me to the beach. Hours passed and she really did. Come on, bud, let's go surfing. I might have a big surprise. Ah, you chameleon. I know your deadly surprise. I took my surfing board and walked with her down to the beach. And then I lost it. You think I'm really gonna follow you into the sea when I know why you brought me here, you evil psycho? What? I don't understand. Why are you saying that? Stop acting. I heard you and your mom conspiring against me last night. I trusted you guys, especially you. I always thought of you as my sister, more than just a friend, but you You traitor! Oh, you heard everything? Listen, you have no idea how angry I am at my mom for doing this to you, but I was just pretending to play along with her plans. But if you want to know why I brought you here, just turn around. I turned around and she was there. My mom! OMG! I dropped my surfboard and ran to her. She was looking all skinny and weak. Mom, where were you all these years? Why didn't you come for me? Where's Dad? And why are you like this? Darling, I know you have a million questions, and I'll answer them all. I'm really sorry for all that you faced. I had no idea your aunt was a witch. Then she explained everything. My parents had been in a shipwreck, and Dad was never found. But Mom had been stuck on an isolated island all these years. And since everyone thought they were dead, the lawyer had been sending Aunt the checks according to their will. Mom never told you about your parents' accident, but I knew. So when I read in the news recently that a woman had been rescued from an island after many years, I really hoped it was your mom. I tracked her down and told her everything. Tears rolled down my cheeks when I heard it all. I hugged them both tight, and then we went straight back home to my aunt. The minute she saw me and Mom, she froze in shock. You? Oh my, you're alive? This is a miracle. Cheryl, honey, isn't it just... Mom stepped forward and slapped her. Don't even try to put on an act for me. You've been eating the money meant for our daughter all these years, and you want to harm her? I will make sure you pay back every penny, and you will never come near my child or Daphne ever again. No, wait, Daphne, my love, you wouldn't leave me? Yes, I will. You're a greedy monster, and you don't know how to love anyone. You don't even deserve to be called Mom. And with that, the three of us left.
Hi, my name is Leanne, and boy, do I have an extraordinary story to share. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. I had a really happy childhood as the only daughter of two loving, wealthy parents. We lived in a beautiful mansion with huge gardens, a pool, and practically a zoo in the backyard. My parents would take me traveling with them around the world, and my favorite thing to do was taking pictures. Everywhere I went, the camera went with me. Life was great until one day it took a tragic turn. When I was 8, we were on our private jet to the Bahamas when suddenly the plane started shaking violently. The pilot and other crew members were shouting and running about, and I just knew something was very wrong. Minutes later, I felt a strong blow and everything went black. I opened my eyes when I felt something wet on my face. I nearly died of fright when I saw that it was a gorilla licking me. I thought she wanted to eat me. I ran away from there like a bullet. But after running around in circles a few times, I realized something. I was stranded on some deserted island. I had no idea what happened to my parents, and I felt really alone and afraid. I was terribly thirsty and tried drinking the seawater, but it was so salty, I spat it out instantly. Just then, I felt a hand on my shoulder. Well, not a human hand, because it was the gorilla again. I was about to flee when I saw her offering me a coconut. I gulped down the coconut water greedily. Thank you. That's when the most incredible thing happened. The gorilla took me by the hand and led me with her. I felt so scared, and my heart was beating like crazy. The gorilla stopped and brought my hand to her chest. She actually calmed me down. I smiled slightly, and I swear she smiled back. We arrived at a forest clearing with a beautiful waterfall, and I gasped. There was a whole herd of gorillas of all sizes. They welcomed me, and over time, I became one of them. I walked like them, ate like them, and even started communicating like them. Life was good. And as years passed, I began to forget my previous life. There was only one problem. Grumpy. He was my older gorilla brother, who clearly hated me. He was always daring me to do dangerous things and setting up traps for me. But luckily, Mom always came to the rescue. One time, though, he went too far. He dared me to step on a thin branch to reach some fruit. The branch snapped under my weight and I fell to the ground, seriously injuring myself. When I woke up, Mom was holding me and sobbing. They laid me on a mattress of leaves and gave me coconut water to drink. I recovered over time, but I found out that the herd had kicked out Grumpy for his mischief. One day, we heard a loud, strange sound, and we all went running out to the forest. To my shock, I saw something familiar. A helicopter was landing on the island. 4 people got out, and I saw 2 of them had weapons, which they were pointing straight at us. Terrified, all the gorillas started running away. But just then, I saw one of the men pointing a gun directly at Grumpy, who was all by himself. I dashed forward and stood with open arms between Grumpy and the man. At that moment, I heard a really familiar human voice. "Leanna, is that you?" "Oh my God, don't shoot! She's my daughter!" Oh my God, she was my mom. Mom ran towards me and hugged me tight. "Leanna, remember me, baby? 10 years ago we had an accident, and we've been looking for you ever since. Oh, I can't believe it." "I'm Dad, Leanna. We never gave up hope. And here you are, all safe and sound." I knew who they were, and I could even understand them. But I'd just forgotten how to speak like them. Ooh, ooh, ah, ooh, ooh. They looked at me like I was crazy. But then they started leading me away to the helicopter. When I realized they were taking me with them, I pulled back. They gently kept telling me I had to come home with them, but I refused. But they weren't willing to leave without me. One of the men picked me up while I bit, kicked, and screamed. My gorilla family rushed forward to help me, but he just put me in a cage and the helicopter quickly lifted off the ground. Mom joined me inside the cage and held me close as I cried and fought. But I tired myself out and fell asleep. And just like that, after 10 years, I'd been found and was back with my loving parents. I should have been happy, but it wasn't that simple. I only knew life in the jungle now. My parents tried to return me to normal, but I continued to behave like a gorilla. I ate like one, scratched myself, and slept on the floor. That's when my parents decided to get me a tutor, Mr. Drotaire. And he looked like a mean old man.
"I train and teach brats for a living. I'm sure I will succeed with you too. For everything you do well, I'll give you a banana. And for everything that you get wrong, well, you'll see."
That man made my life miserable, and my parents had no idea. Anytime I did something wrong, he went mental and screamed at me. He'd make me stand with my face towards the wall for hours while he kept calling me a stupid savage. Oh, I just hated him. But I tried to learn fast so I could get rid of him. After months, when I joined my parents one day for breakfast, they couldn't stop staring at me. I was perfectly dressed, with my hair combed, and I was eating with a spoon. When I asked my mom to pass me the sugar in perfect English, both of them burst into tears and started hugging me. "Oh, Leanna, you look so pretty. Just perfect. Now that you're back to your old self, love, it's about time we sent a press release announcing your safe return. So many people helped us look for you and prayed for you. They will be so happy to hear the news, and we shall organize a grand party in your honor." I was glad to see my parents so pleased with me, and a party sounded nice. A few days later, Mom took me to the mall to shop, and I was so surprised by everyone's reactions when they saw me. I didn't even know I was famous. Crying women hugged me and Mom and said they were so happy for us. People asked me to take pictures with them and wanted my autograph. It was crazy. I felt overwhelmed by everything, but I stayed quiet and smiled for the cameras. But the truth was, I really missed my life on the island and my gorilla family. On the day of the party, I had hairstylists and makeup artists working on me for hours. I wasn't even allowed to eat much because I had to fit into some ridiculous ball gown. Okay, it was beautiful, but I was starving. As I walked down the stairs, I was suddenly blinded by the flashes of so many cameras. I felt like a wild animal in a zoo, with people gasping and staring at me. Just then, Mom came forward and took my hand. "Smile, sweetie. Everything's okay. You're doing great." I tried to reply, but I couldn't. I just wished I was anywhere but here. Suddenly, a boy whisked me off to dance, and he kept talking nonstop. And then another boy asked me to dance, and then another and another. I was beginning to feel nauseous. As I stopped to rest, a pompous-looking lady walked over to me, along with Mr. Drotair. Gosh, why was he even invited? Oh, how can anyone be so beautiful? Everyone said you were a wild beast. People really love to gossip, don't they, Mr. Drotair? You've taught her right.
Oh, yes, I have. Miss Leanna is my star student, and she has turned out even better than I expected.
Well, darling, I'd like to introduce you to my son. He has a very good heart and a very big pocket. I'm sure your parents will be so pleased if you two hit it off. I don't know if it was her shrill voice or Mr. Drotair's evil smile, but I just exploded. Literally, the buttons on my dress started to pop. One of them hit the screaming lady straight in the eye, and I felt pure joy. One by one, I took out all the hairpins that were practically stuck in my brain and let my hair go loose. And like the gorilla that I am, I jumped onto one of the hanging lamps, making sure to kick Mr. Drotair on my way up. From the lamp, I jumped to another and then leapt onto the stairs. I turned around and mouthed, "I'm sorry," to my shocked parents, and left. As I burst out of the hall, I ran headfirst into someone and fell down. As he helped me up, I saw he was the most gorgeous guy. He introduced himself as Rocky, the chef for the party tonight. "Oh, I would have loved to taste your food, but I won't be attending the rest of that party." As my stomach loudly growled, just at that moment, Rocky asked me if I'd like to join him for a private dinner. And, well, I couldn't say no to that dreamy face. It was the most amazing time I'd had since I'd returned. Rocky was funny and sweet, and being around him felt so easy. Of course, the news of the disastrous party was everywhere. My parents didn't say much to me, but I knew they were disappointed and embarrassed. I decided I wouldn't be seeing any people for a while, except Rocky, whom I'd started seeing quite often. Even though being around him made me feel happy, I couldn't keep ignoring how much I missed the jungle, and I decided to talk to my parents. But before I came to me one day and said they had something to show me. I'm not sure if you remember, but before the plane crash, you used to love photography. We thought this would cheer you up. And on all the walls were framed pictures that I'd taken as a kid. On the other side of the room, there were cameras, tripods, lights, basically my very own studio. Wow, you guys, this is amazing! Thank you! I really love you both so much, and I know you do. But why are you unhappy? I told them that I was living with family in my life. But they are monkeys, and you're human. Look, they are gorillas, and they took care of me as their own. I love them. Lee, sweetheart, I'm gonna go back. Mom burst into tears and protested to defeat. But Dad supported me, and after much talking, they both seemed to understand that going back was the right thing for me. And now I had another very hard goodbye to say. I told Rocky that I would look sad. "Leanne, you're just breaking my heart. Maybe I can come with you. I mean, I could try." "Oh, Rocky, I couldn't ask you to do that. You belong here. You're a brilliant chef and will go on to do amazing things. I know it. And I will never forget you." With tears in his eyes, he pulled me in for a long kiss, and fireworks exploded in my head. I ran off and didn't look back. When I landed on the island, I was so afraid my gorilla family wouldn't even recognize me. But they came running straight at me and knocked me over with their hugs. I was so happy to see them. Weeks later, I saw a boat coming onto the shore one evening, and I nearly fell back in shock to see that it was Rocky. "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" "You were wrong, Leanne. I don't belong there. I belong wherever you are." And now, yes, the end of the story has arrived. At least for you. For us, this is just the beginning.